Hey guys, it's Wednesday. I just wanted to share a little something with you guys. These are some papers that this is something a buddy wrote, and he wrote this in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. It was a prison. I met up with him in Las Cruces. This what we're going to get into, and we'll get right into it, is reading this letter that this guy wrote. It has a ton of great information in it. Listen to this letter because it might make you feel a certain way. This individual's name is Rick Clapsey. His prison number is 56754. This was written in Santa Rosa, GCCF, PO Box 520. This is the title of this letter is A Written Conversation. So this is a buddy of mine. I spent time with him, and let's get into the letter that he wrote. He sent me out with this. This was, I had a written conversation. I have attempted this opening paragraph more times than I care to admit. Therefore, I've come to the conclusion that Allah's will is for me to write this essay more casually than I normally would. My belief is that I simply need to have a sort of written conversation with you. A conversation that I pray will guide you on a path that will keep you far away from any prison cell. There are no excuses for being sent to prison unless you are framed. Being poor is not an excuse to steal. Peer pressure is not an excuse to use or sell drugs. A racial pride is not an excuse for murdering someone. And at the end of the day, while there are several reasons for being sent off to prison, there are absolutely no excuses. Think about that for a second or two. If your boy or girlfriend cheats on you, are there any excuses for what they have done? Right? No excuses. Once several years ago, I was a prominent businessman with an annual income of over $100,000, fast cars, beautiful women, expensive toys, and a huge house were only some of the benefits of my lifestyle and work ethic. I was doing well, so what in the world would make me throw away, commit a brutal murder, and wind up in prison for the rest of my life? This letter was written in 2003. The easy answer would be to say that I had a rough childhood filled with abuse and neglect. That is my excuse. But no matter how much I was beaten as a child, no matter how tough I had to come up, because I spent so much time in a children's shelter and group homes run by the state, None of that is a valid excuse for murdering someone. To say that would be a pitiful cop-out as well as a total lie. The real answer is the truth. I made horrible choices in my life, and the downward spiral ended with me living out the rest of my life in a prison cell in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. No, you moved from there, praise God. Nonetheless, reality is sometimes more difficult to face because us realize we screwed up. Let me read that again. Reality is sometimes more difficult to face because it makes us realize we screwed up and how we could have made better decisions which would have kept us on a path that leads us to the good and beneficial things in life, not prison. This simple truth is that I allowed greed, lust, drugs, and lies to become more important than my precious freedom. Do not make the same mistake. Freedom is one of the most underappreciated words in the entire English language. I valued money over it. I put sex before it. I let drugs fog its importance. I don't consider myself an evil man, yet I did an uncharacteristically evil thing. Murder that took one life. Profoundly affected several lives and cost me my freedom for the rest of my life. With no chance of pardon or sentence reduction, it was not one single decision that landed me in this cell. Rather, it was the final decision that broke the preferable camel's back. I had thousands of chances to keep my freedom, and they finally ran out. And now, in hindsight, I have a real appreciation for it. Prison is not a cool place at all. Most of the people you meet here are liars. The food is borderline horrible, and you don't get to own much in the way of personal property. In prison, your life is constantly under a microscope, and privacy becomes a distant memory. Guys, should you be locked up? long enough, you actually begin to get used to all of it. Oh, let me tell you, if you don't like being told what to do by your teachers, parents, then you had better stay far away from prison. I concur. In prison, your parents no longer give orders. However, there are dozens of complete strangers who will take their place and tell you to make your bed and clean your room, dress a certain way, eat certain foods, sweep the floor, and even pee in a cup while they watch. And if you stomp your feet and refuse, you will lose the little privileges you have and get more rules heaped upon you. That is very true. As we eventually, if you like these things, I'll go through my misconduct reports and you can. Are you reading this and thinking I'm tough? I can handle anything prison dishes out. I do what I feel and nobody is the boss of me. Or do you assume your homies will provide you with all the safety and security you'll ever need? Your homies won't do the time for you. And most of them could care less how long you stay in prison. That is true. Moreover, there are several who will egg you on to do stupid things to even stay longer. Misery loves company, and a shank in the back, neck, or kidney is tougher than anyone. That is true. Believe me, once you mess up on your life and land here, getting out becomes more and more difficult. Think about what prisons are organized for, to keep you in. The minute you get sentenced to hard time, you become part of the social class in America, convicts. Do you want your children to grow up with a parent they can only see in a small visiting room for 2 hours at a time? Ask yourself how you'd be able to discipline your own children properly if you were wearing prison blues and your word carries significantly less weight than if you were a full-time parent. Wow. The bottom line is stay out of prison. The bottom line is stay out of prison, guys. You know my name, so if you ever meet me, it will be because you made horrible choices. Therefore, if you approach me in prison, mention this little missive that I wrote, and in hopes that it would help keep you out of here. I will ask you what your reason is for throwing away your precious freedom and coming to spend part of your life with me while I do my life sentence plus 77-year sentence. Plus I do my life plus 77-year sentence. Please don't insult me by offering up some lame excuse, because a simple truth is that there are no excuses for being sent to prison. Guys, this is a powerful letter. This is a beautiful letter. This is a letter coming from someone that's doing life plus 77 years. I really wanted to get into the second letter, which is a simple cure, but I'm not going to get into that. We're going to stick it out with that first letter. If you guys want to hear that letter, a simple cure, leave it in the comments and I'll read that letter to you. And for now, I'm going to be signing off, and I hope you guys have a good, blessed day. This guy did some horrible shit, real horrible shit. You know, I know everything that he did and everything that he did. I was with him for 5 years. And this guy also had a master's in English and had done many things, made $100,000 a year. This was back in 2001 and 2. He was in prison in 2003. So 100,000 back then was like 200,000 a year is now for an entrepreneur starting out. That's decent. A lot of the things I implement today, like extreme accountability, are because of him. And so when you guys ask me, oh, did you get this from so-and-so or so-and-so, or oh, you watch Bedros, or you watch, not really, I live this shit, dude. These guys watch me. You know what I mean? If they heard it from someone else, those other motherfuckers heard it from me. And so I lived it, breathed it, understood it. And, that's it, guys. If you want to see that second letter, I'll tease you with it and say this second letter is called A Simple Cure. If you want me to read you this long, lengthy, awesome, has tons of information in it, get into the comment section and tell me you want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, no offense, don't worry about it. But signing out, man. I hope you guys have a good Wednesday. Appreciate it.